talk this week around a really short, snappy episode, which is all around what separates the best from the rest when it comes to sales. So there are 4 things that I think that successful people do in sales that are brilliant at selling, that makes them stand out from the rest of average people. And I want to share those 4 things with you today and then give you an inspirational story to go on. Hopefully you're going to know all in 10 minutes. Give me your ears for this 10 minutes of time and I'll share with you why these things are so important. So what are the 4 things that successful salespeople do? And by the way, I've engaged and watched and listened and so many salespeople over the years. I lose track of how many people I engage with. And there are these 4 things that I think they show or are able to do on a regular basis that makes a difference for them. So, and by the way, if you ever come for a sales interview with me and I ask you a question, what do you think the most important traits of a salesperson should have? I ask this question a lot of the time and I very rarely get these 4 answers or these 2 or 3 answers. So if you are listening to this podcast or watching this video, then utilize these because these are the words that I would say. Number 1 is this: listening and showing empathy. The very best salespeople are not talkers. They are not people that are going to talk about how great they are. They listen and they actively listen. They listen with intent, not to reply, but to intent to learn. And I think they have this empathy to really get inside the world of the buyer or the other person and to listen, to really be empathetic with that person's situation. And I really encourage you to, if you can develop some skills, develop the skill of listening. Turn off your phone, get your phone out and turn off the notifications. Put your laptop down, focus on the other person. Focus on listening. And when I say listening, I'm also mean listening with what you're hearing, with the words they're saying, but what are you also seeing? I also like listening with my eyes. I listen with my eyes to be able to look around and see what's going on and watch the reactions I'm seeing and the gestures and the body language that people are giving off. And I'm able to then pick up on stuff there and show empathy to certain points in time or to be able to react in the right way. So I hugely encourage you to become a great listener and show empathy. Point number 2, this, I think, goes alongside the listening, and you can only listen when you are shutting your mouth. And the best way you want to shut your mouth in sales is to ask a question. So point number 2 around the greatest things that make successful salespeople stand out are asking the right questions in the right way at the right time. And I include all 3 of those because you do have to ask them in the right way at the right time. But if you ask great questions, and that's mainly open questions, but sometimes it can be a closed question if we need to get to a certain point. But knowing the right way in which to ask a question and how to ask it and when to ask it and to do that is going to get you where you want to be in sales. And forget people talking about pitching and being able to sell ice to the Eskimos and be able to be this great charismatic figure. If you can ask great questions in the right way at the right time, you will become a sales superhero. I have no doubt whatsoever about it. Hone your skills to what to do and how to do it when. You will become a sales genius. And this is one of the reasons why, even though it's 2024 and the world is changing and AI is growing so much, this is one of the reasons why I still think as humans we have 5 years advantage on the robots. Maybe not 5 years, who knows, but because a robot won't have that intuition and that ability to have that emotional connection with another human being to know how to ask those questions in the right way at the right time. And that's where I think if you can develop those skills, and I'm going to continue to develop my skills there, you'll be in a great place. So that's point number 2. Point number 3 about one of the most, how the 4 things that successful salespeople have that are brilliant, makes them stand out from average salespeople, is being able to probe beneath the surface. So there was a guy that used to work for me before, and I always used to say to him, he said, "Oh, clients are really happy," or whatever else. And I said, "Oh, great, cool. If they're happy, that's fantastic. They'll know there are no problems." And I said, "But just double check. Let's probe beneath the surface. Let's ask questions like, I could be wrong. Just want to check you're happy and everything else." No, they're fine. They're all happy. And we get to contract renewal date, and they said, "Oh, yeah, they decided not to go ahead because of this and this reason." And I'd be like, "Okay, well, that's not. Oh, it's not our fault because of this and this." Isn't bullshit. If you probe beneath the surface, become a bit paranoid. There's a great quote from Andy Grove that said, only paranoid CEOs survive. And the point that he's making is we have to be paranoid. We always have to think about, well, we want to be positive and take the good news and all the elements around what people are telling us. We're better off to actually probe beneath the surface and really find out what's going on and to sense and to pick up on the small bits that we see from other people, the small little areas of doubt that we think that could lead into bigger issues and deal with those there and then. Great salespeople were able to probe beneath the surface. You mentioned this year. I want to talk about that a bit more and tell me your thoughts. And you talked about something over there. And it could be me. I could have got that wrong, but I just wanted to sense what was happening there and what the implications were, or blah, blah, blah. So the ability to probe beneath the surface, I think, is really, really critical there. And it's that second sense. And sometimes you've got to be careful, because if a person's giving you the vibes that they don't want to have more of a conversation, you've got to have the right empathy and emotional sales intelligence to know when not to do that. But most of the time, when we probe in a nice way, in the right tone, in an effective manner, people are able to open up. People want to talk about themselves. Sales is all about other people wanting to talk about themselves and their challenges and what's going on. And if you probe in the right way and find out what's happening, then you can get incredible results. But it can also enable you to know when to step back as well. There are times when we have to probe, and we might probe in an area and find that actually what that's going to do is give us not the right answer to a solution, and we're not going to get where we want to get to. So I think the third area is the ability to probe and to go beneath the surface. Don't be superficial. Don't just take superficial answers. Don't have happy ears. Don't be people that will literally hear something or see something, oh, that must be the case. Dig a bit deeper to really validate and to ensure that what you're hearing is correct and is the right thing. And that, if you do that, and if you do that in the right way, then it's just all it's going to do is going to cement you what you know and build the knowledge and build insights to really get an understanding of what the buyer or the person you're selling to is thinking. So that's point number 3. And then point number 4, and this is probably a different one than most people will say, but I've thought about this one, about what the skills are that I'd have, and I call this doing the right thing, not the easy thing. So great salespeople, that stand out, that are brilliant at selling, have the ability to do the right thing, not just the easy thing. The easy thing is the thing that everyone does, right? Because it's easy to not pick up the phone. It's easy to offer the discount when a client asks. It's easy to push for a solution even though you think the buyer's not right for it. It's easy to do a number. It's easy to go and do 1 meeting rather than 2 in the day because you're tired or whatever. But it's the great salespeople will do that thing rather than the easy option. They'll take the right approach because they know that that's how they've just grounded and how they've been, and they are able to do what needs to be done rather than just taking that easy path. And I guess it's difficult because sometimes that pathway might well be turning your back and saying, hey, look, engaging with the prospect and saying this isn't right for you and I'm going to leave you to it because I don't want to sell you a solution that's not right. Or it may well be saying to someone that that you can't offer a discount, and if you want to work with them, if that's not right for them, that you need to walk away or whatever. I don't know, but it's doing the right thing, not the easy thing. And it's hard to put one finger on what that is, but generally great salespeople are just able to not sell themselves short. They know they have moral standards, have values, they're accountable. I've talked to you in previous podcasts around accountability, and they're able to be accountable for themselves, and they're able to work situations out. And I think that if you can focus on being in the position where you do the right thing, not just the easy thing, then if there is 2 options in front of you in a day, and one's easy, one's hard, you know which one you'll pick, right? Some people will look at this right now and go, oh, okay, and I'm going to pick the easy one. Okay, cool, that's fine. You're probably going to stay an average salesperson. But if you want to be a great salesperson, a superhero in this respect, what's the hard thing you can do? What's the thing you can do to challenge yourself or to challenge the normal thought process to do what you need to do? And if it is that discount, if it is the easy thing when you pick up the phone and talk to a prospect who then tells you they're not interested, is to put the phone down, because the easy thing is to do is to say, hey, I'm going to leave that be. Whereas the right thing to do might be to be able to say, look, the chance of being able to get hold of you are unlikely. Let's have a conversation and discuss this, or try to handle it. So doing the right thing, not the easy thing. So those are my 4 points: listening, showing empathy, asking the right questions in the right way at the right time, probing beneath the surface, and doing the right thing, not the easy thing, are my 4 things that make successful salespeople brilliant at, and business owners brilliant at selling. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. What are the things that you think? You might think I'm wrong. You might tell me it's all about pitching. It's all about sharing information, about how great you are. It's all about other things. I don't know. You tell me your thoughts. But in my career, and I've been selling now, I'm coming up to 49 now. So I've been selling for nearly 37 years. In my sales career over 37 years across every single industry, these are the things that I have learned over time that made the goal be difference between the great and the good, and or the average and the brilliant. So those are my thoughts. Those are the 4 things. And by the way, I'd love to know how successful you are at those 4 things. Are you really good at asking those questions? Are you really good at showing empathy? Are you really good at doing the right thing, not the easy thing? Let me know in the comments and let me know your thoughts. But those are my 4 things that make great salespeople. So look, as I always do, finish the podcast with a an inspirational story, and we've got a couple of inspirational stories that I think are really interesting. And one of them is a guy who you may have well seen on the telly recently. He's a guy that I've shared on LinkedIn, his story. He's a guy called Russ Cook. I don't think we've covered Russ Cook before. I'm pretty sure we haven't, actually. Russ Cook, to me, is an incredible inspirational man. He's just finished becoming the first man to run the whole length of Africa. He became the first person to do this. He's experienced so many challenges, robbery, van breaking down, the body breaking down. But he ran nearly 10,000 miles in over a year and a half, I think. And I followed his journey pretty much from the start. And I think it's incredible what he's done. Just a true inspiration. I'm going to try and get him on the podcast. I think he's going to have films written about him. If I get him on the podcast, that's my dream. That's what I'm going to aim for. It's a dream that I've got, because I'd love to interview Russ, because I think he's an incredibly inspirational man. But look, he's someone that I think I just have huge admiration and respect for. So have a look at his story if you haven't heard about him. Russ Cook, first ginger guy, ginger beard, ginger. If he's not knighted in this year's honours list, something's wrong. But there we go. I don't think it will happen, because it doesn't work that way. But he should be. But he's an inspiration to me, and he's an inspiration to hopefully you. And I always say, if you can take inspiration from people to become your own inspiration to other people, then that's all that matters. So that's my story for this week. These are the 4 things that make great salespeople, or make amazing salespeople successful. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. If you have, tell other people about it. Rate us, please. Could you give us a rating? That would be helpful for us to get up those podcast lists and to make sure we impact more people. But until next week, have a brilliant, safe week ahead, and I'll see you then. Take care.